Having a problem trying to figure out which quarterback to draft? Well, do we have a show for you? We are back. Welcome back to the Fourth and Flex Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Bandy. That's Trey, and the time is now, buddy. What's up?
What's going on, man? What's going on? We're back, and it gets closer and closer every week, man. It's like, 14 days till our draft in the Bandy Bowl. I mean, the time is coming up on us, man. We're getting there, and you know what? The knowledge is flowing. My ideas are flowing. I'm ready.
Hey, you heard Trey, man. He's ready, baby. He's ready. Today we're talking quarterbacks to draft, must draft, best quarterbacks to target, all those good things. We're starting at 10. We're working our way down. Yeah, let's do it. What do you think?
Let's do it.
All right, buddy. Starting at 10, man. I'm going to hit us off with a bang here. Maybe I'm showing a little biased. I don't know.
Oh, God.
Starting off number 10, we've got Baker Mayfield coming in at number 10, Trey. All right, last season, 4,400 yards, okay? I'm sorry, 4,044 yards, all right? 28 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. By the way, the last quarterback in the league to throw an interception, just might throw that out there. QB 9.5 PPR. Career year in 2023, Baker Mayfield, okay? That's his first year with the team, getting reps. Now he's a little more, people are realizing like they can trust Baker, okay? Like he is actually that guy in Tampa, and I'm loving what I'm seeing so far. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, one of the most underrated wide receiver duo in the NFL, man, which definitely gets overlooked every year. I've actually seen Mike Evans going in drafts where I feel like he should go this year, finally, because he was undervalued so much last season. And Godwin another year removed from an ACL injury, which is, that's a big deal, like that first year is always a little rough. We saw Godwin not doing as well last year as he did. Now he's got him back in the slot. I think Godwin is someone to look out for too, but I'm just saying Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. I mean, Godwin and him and Mike Evans, I think are going to help Baker make it to the top 10, baby.
Yeah, man, I think that's a little bit of a hot take. I mean, you said top 15 last year, and you're right about that. So, yeah. I mean, I ain't hating, but there's a lot of good quarterbacks out there, and to put Baker Mayfield in the mix of the top 10 scares me a little bit. I feel like there's definitely some people that could easily outdo him out of all the quarterbacks, but I am not doubting that it's not possible. I think that it definitely could happen, but I don't know if I would risk my picks on it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just saying, bro, watch out for Baker in Tampa, baby. They're going to be cooking this season, Trey.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But moving on to my number 10, a guy you probably shouldn't waste your pick on either. Aaron Rodgers, baby, coming in at number 10 quarterback on the year. Okay, stats last season, 3 snaps for 1 torn Achilles. All right, so, I get it. He's 40. He's coming off an Achilles tear. He skipped minicamp to go do psychedelic drugs. But he's got Breece Hall, he's got Garrett Wilson, and he's Aaron Rodgers, who has proved that he can be valuable for fantasy. Yeah. It's a risky pick, but if this dude can stay healthy, I think he's a major sleeper in drafts. Okay, Aaron Rodgers, we've seen him do great things. We've seen him be MVP. The dude is a monster with the football. He's just old and hurt. And so that's what people are scared of. And I think you should be scared, but also the potential of him not getting hurt. This man could go off with the Jets and the team they have around him. I think that he could break the top 10 if he plays all year.
I like it and can easily be done. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers, of course, if healthy, coming in to show us what it looks like to see Aaron Rodgers on the Jets. I mean, you saw his highlights last season. What was it when he was running out of the tunnel with the flag? That was his season highlights. Just saying. Yeah, we don't know what that looks like. We know Aaron Rodgers, 3-time MVP. The man can do it. The man can get it done. Always makes a playoff run. Why not? Why could he not be a top 10 quarterback? There's always that guy every year that surprises us, creeps into the top 10, and why not Aaron Rodgers?
Exactly.
I love it. I love it, buddy. I love it. Let's go ahead and move on to the number 9 guy on my list. Sitting at number 9, coming in, a guy that, let's just say this organization tends to get lucky very often, and that's Jordan Love coming in at number 9, baby. Last season, 4,159 yards, 32 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, okay? QB5 in fantasy points per game last season. Not a lot of people seen that coming. Also, something to mention, they've got the 4th easiest schedule by a quarterback. He's got the 4th easiest schedule by a quarterback, so that's something good for your fantasy teams for sure, buddy. Past expectations last season, 7th in passing yards, 2nd in touchdowns thrown. He's a good quarterback that you can also wait on, okay? Get him a little later in your drafts. Show me the love, baby. Show me the love.
Without a doubt, man. Without a doubt. That's why I have Jordan Love higher on my list than 9, baby. Yeah, I'm excited for Jordan Love, man. I think it's no one's really talking about him, you know, and the dude went off last year. It's another team or another year with the same team.
Yep.
I'll get into it a little more when I get there, but yeah, I'm loving the Jordan Love.
I know what you mean. You got a little juice, and you don't want to spill.
Yeah, I don't want to spill
out.
it just yet. You know,
we're gonna save it for later. Guys, no matter where you are watching us, guys, please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, follow us, do all those things that we know you love to do, man. The fantasy football season is creeping up, and your boys over here at 4th and Flex got your back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, I've got a comment over on YouTube, The Roll Fantasy Football. Do you guys have guests on the channel? I'd love to come on sometime. Absolutely, buddy. Absolutely. The Roll Fantasy Football. Yeah, man. Send us a message, on Sleeper. Bandy B Flexin is my handle on Sleeper, man. Send me a little message there, man, and we'll link up and we'll talk.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But jumping to number 9 on my list, a guy who finished at QB7 last year. I got him at number 9. So I'm dialing him back a little bit, but people are probably still going to think I'm crazy. And that's Jared Goff, baby. Jared Goff coming at number 9 on my list. Like I said, he finished QB7 last year. 4,575 passing yards, 21 rushing yards, 30 passing touchdowns, and 2 rushing touchdowns. I just want to, that's a good stat for me. 21 rushing yards and 2 of them were touchdowns. Come on, Jared Goff. Look, he finished 2nd in passing yards last year. His biggest downside is he's not a rushing quarterback, so his fantasy ceiling is capped. But I personally think Detroit will be even better than they were last year. Yeah. And he could have, I would say, like a Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb-esque last year kind of year this year with Amon-Ra. Yeah. I think that's easily possible. I think they could build that kind of connection. And like I said, this team has just gotten better. And I think Jared Goff can easily be a top 10 quarterback.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a little of a hot take. Okay, it was a hot take last year, and he did better than everybody thought he would do. But I love it. I love it. The Lions, I think, are going to be a lot more on the better side this season than on the bad side, as we've seen in many years previously. So it's not that much of a stretch to think that he could come in at number. What do you got him? 9? At number 9, I don't think it's that big of a stretch, man. They used to call him Jared Goffle, but if he comes in the top 10, man, they have to cancel that nickname, man. I like it.
No doubt.
He's got weapons. It can be done, Jared Goff. It's all on you, buddy. All on you. But anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next guy on my list, man. Coming in at number 8. The little guy in the locker room. I've got Kyler Murray coming in at number 8. Last season, 1,799 yards, 10 touchdowns, 5 INTs. He didn't play all season. He was still recovering off ACL injury, so he comes back about half the season. I feel like maybe he didn't put his all in. He still managed to almost get 2,000 yards, but it can be done. Let's see, QB9 in fantasy points per game last season. Also ranked 9th in rushing yards per game. Okay, for a quarterback, hey, not bad. Still got it. Last season was his floor. I really believe that. Last season is his floor. His ceiling, have we seen it yet? Maybe not. Maybe not. They got Marvin Harrison Jr. is there now. They've got a big-bodied wide receiver that can make things happen. Murray will continue to be a running quarterback, which is definitely going to help your fantasy team, man. I think Murray's coming back with a vengeance, Trey.
Yeah, man. They got Trey McBride too, and I actually saw a crazy stat the other day, and I remember it, but like it reminded me of it because I haven't thought about Kyler Murray in a while. But it was like something like he went 48-0, like he never lost a game in high school, never lost a game in college, and then like didn't lose his first football game until he was in the NFL, which is kind of crazy. He led he had all these state records and all this stuff. Like he was just the best of the best of the best. And then he come into the NFL, got hurt a couple times, and hasn't been able to really show himself yet. So I like it, man. I like Kyler Murray.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely insane to think that a guy can do nothing but win and then gets to the NFL and be like, man, this is hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy. Hey, Conscious Machine 413 says Murray is fragile.
Yeah, that's the biggest worry, man, is the injury because he is such a small guy, that he can get hurt, and it happens. But, you could take a risk on Kyler Murray, and his rushing game alone could help you win weeks.
Absolutely. Crazy stuff, man. What do you got going on over there, buddy?
Jumping to number 8 on my list, a guy who I also think is a little fragile, Anthony Richardson. Last year, 577 passing yards, 136 rushing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, and 4 rushing touchdowns. He plays like Josh Allen, and he has the ability to be a top 5 quarterback, but he's coming off a shoulder injury. He's only played 17 games since high school, which is insane.
Wow.
So injury is a huge concern, but Anthony Richardson is one of those guys that, man, if he can stay healthy, a lot of these guys on this list, if they can stay healthy all year, they're league winners. And that's the risk you're taking by drafting these guys, but you're able to get them because of their injury concern.
Exactly.
And so if you want to make the playoffs or you want to win the championship, that's the decision you're making when you grab a guy who is safe versus a guy like Anthony Richardson or Kyler Murray or Aaron Rodgers, who could potentially take you to victory.
I like it. How many games did you say he played?
17 since high school.
Crazy. All because of injury?
Yep.
Ew, yikes. That's scary. But man, like it's because the guy is literally putting his, everything on the line, man, and just doing everything he can to win games when he is on the field because he has spent so much time off the field. I mean, that sounds like a guy that I would like on my team, but it is scary. It is scary.
Yeah, and people are taking him pretty high. I think that's my thing. If he falls to a certain spot in my draft, I think I'll be willing to take a grab on him, especially super flex.
Yeah,
I would love Anthony Richardson as a QB2. Grab me a guy like Russell Wilson or Baker Mayfield as my QB3.
Yeah,
just in case he gets hurt, and you could throw one of those guys in. I think it's a great move.
See, I last season I that's what I did a lot. I took Baker Mayfield as my 3rd quarterback in Superflex leagues, and I can't tell you how most of those leagues I ended up using as my number 2 quarterback because he exceeded expectations. So check it out, man. I like it though. I like it.
100%.
Conscious Minds popping in. Nix and Penix are the QB2 roster for a championship. Why not? Maybe even grab Daniels instead.
I don't know about all that. I ain't got any of them on my top 10.
I mean, yeah. Nix, Penix. Penix is what? Behind Kirk Cousins, right? In Atlanta. Bo Nix looking pretty good for Denver in preseason. Maybe I saw a thing that said every one of Bo Nix's drives have all ended up in points, except for one, which was a tight end fumble, which wasn't his fault. Maybe the Broncos have found a guy.
Look, man, I get it, but one thing I'll remember that I've always told myself every year, be careful what you trust in the preseason. Because these guys come out and they're playing against, second string, third string, or the other team is just not going all in because they don't want to do an injury or something like that. So they're just like, let them go.
We have seen it a bunch of times, man. Somebody like that just balls out in the preseason, right? And then they get in there and then do nothing.
Yeah, Justin Fields.
Yeah. Well, we did see a DJ Moore awesome play in the preseason last year.
Yeah, bro. That's why I drafted Justin Fields was because of the DJ Moore play.
Hey, Conscious Mind says not top 10, but you can stack a team and wait on QB.
Without a doubt, brother.
I like it, buddy. All right, where are we at? Number 7? Yep. Yes, sir. I'm at number 7 on my QB rankings list. A guy that we've kind of talked about a little bit already, and that is Aaron freaking Rodgers.
Number 7,
coming
baby.
in at 7, baby. 7. Let's see. Stats last season. 1 attempt, 1 sack. And y'all know what happened on that sack. Just saying. So I'm taking a risk on this guy for sure. QB 73 last season. QB 73. How did that happen? Just saying, like, torn Achilles, 4 snaps in last season. We all know the story. We've all seen the drama play out. 40 years old, Aaron Rodgers is right now. Okay. Coming back from injury, old, slow, all of the above, but he is Aaron frickin' Rodgers, man. 2-time or 3-time MVP, 1-time Super Bowl winner. You know, that could have been small things happening in the past could change that into just only 1 Super Bowl for Aaron Rodgers, but we're not going to get into that right now. Garrett Wilson to the moon, just saying, with Aaron Rodgers, a healthy Aaron Rodgers. They got a great rushing attack with Breece Hall, a guy who we've seen catch the ball and run. That's great for Aaron Rodgers' stats. Okay. An Aaron Rodgers that is healthy and smart, because that's one of his things, man. He's just very smart. He knows the game. He knows what to look for, and that's why he's been so great for so long. First ballot Hall of Famer. I'm talking Aaron Rodgers at number 7, Trey.
I can dig it, man. I can dig it. You know, I thought I was going crazy having him at 10. You brought him in at number 7, so I can dig it, man. I love me some Aaron Rodgers this year, man. Like I said, you know, injury is obviously the biggest concern. Can he do it? Can he stay healthy at 40 years old? To me, this is his year. You know, if it doesn't work out, then I think he's done. But if this man goes on for a playoff run, I think he comes back next year.
Hey, we saw Tom Brady at 42 win a Super Bowl for the Bucs. Yeah. So it's not above the realm of possibility, Trey.
Without a doubt. But jumping to the number 7 on my list, the guy we've also talked about, that is Jordan Love. Okay. Number 7 on my list. We mentioned his stats: 4,159 passing yards, 32 touchdowns, 4 rushing touchdowns. And he did all of that with one of the youngest and least experienced skill groups, at his receivers. He was second in passing touchdowns. They've had another offseason to build chemistry as a team, and I think he's got big potential, man. I think, and he's just, like I said earlier, he's a sleeper in drafts right now. Like, no one is looking at Jordan Love as a top 10 quarterback, and he did it last year. So I'm excited for what Jordan Love.
And you were excited for Jordan Love last year too.
Yeah,
man. I remember you blowing that horn a little bit last season. Conscious Mind said earlier, you can stack a team and wait on QB. You can't wait too long, but you can wait a little bit on Jordan Love. So if you want to get a decent QB, I mean, you can use him as a QB1. I think he's good enough for that. I mean, Superflex QB2, definitely. I mean, Jordan Love, he's a younger guy, but he seems to, he played behind Aaron Rodgers for a few years also. He soaked up all that energy, all that information from Aaron Rodgers, man, and it obviously has paid off.
Without a doubt.
I love it. Let's move on down the list to number 6 on our list here. We're talking QBs. Coming in number 6, a guy that has been talked about a lot. We've heard a lot about this guy and his team. Coming in for his second season, I'm talking CJ Stroud. Coming in at number 6, okay? Last season, as a rookie, 4,108 yards, 23 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, QB 13 last season, which is insane to have a rookie come in and do those type of things, okay? Look, he scored low on his S2 exam, so everybody thought he was going to come in, be a bust. But look, he came in and showed them that them test scores don't mean nothing. What'd he say, Trey? What'd he say? I
don't know what you're talking about.
He said, I don't know nothing about no tests, but I know football. And he sure was right, baby. He sure was right. A great offensive line. The Texans have a great offensive line. They got a new shiny toy in Houston also, talking Stephon Diggs. He's a little older. He's a little worn. He's a little bit complaining, but he is Stephon Diggs, man, and then he's got something to prove this season. Nico Collins had a breakout year last season. So this is a great, I'd say, wide receiver trio that they have going on. Tank Dell over there as well. A great wide receiver trio over there. Joe Mixon in the run game. The Texans are going to be scary, bro.
Yeah, man. Tank Dell already looking really, really good in the preseason. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. I don't have CJ Stroud on my top 10. I've got him at 11.
Okay.
And mostly due to the hype train and mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he was a rookie. Yes, he had a great season, but can he repeat that?
Mhm.
That's tough to do. You have an amazing rookie season, and then the next year you have a fall off. And it's almost like they pump the team up too much, and I just worry there's too many mouths to feed. There's going to be some drama with Stephon Diggs, and how's that going to play out? It's scary to me. I still think he's going to be great. I just don't think he's top 10.
Okay. I see it. We're gonna find out, buddy. We're gonna find out. He was 13 last season. You heard me say that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I think he can crack the top 10 this season for sure. Hey, the Roll of Fantasy Football says Justin Herbert is underrated. Justin Herbert make it to your list, buddy?
He did not.
He didn't make
And if he had a little bit of a better wide receiver core, I might put him there. I love me some Justin Herbert his rookie year. I was all over that train.
Yep.
But since then, I've been disappointed every year, and so it scares me to even look Justin Herbert's way. I think he has great opportunity and great potential, but he's gonna have to prove it for me one more time.
Absolutely, he is gonna have to prove it. If he can do it with like no weapons, also that's gonna be something that is very impressive to me. Herbert definitely has the potential. I think he could easily crack the top 10, but I don't know if I'm willing to risk my fantasy season on it.
Yeah, man.
Crazy. Let's see.
Jumping to number 6 on my list, a guy that we've also already talked about, Kyler Murray, number 6 on my list. Look, like we said, injury's a big concern, but he's a true dual threat quarterback. Okay, he's back to full speed after his ACL tear. They added Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride, up-and-coming tight end. Obviously it's scary. Murray hasn't played a full season since 2020, but that's why Murray hasn't been a top 6 quarterback. Okay, but if he plays a full season, the way his legs work on that field, he easily has a rise to top 6. The way I look at it, and the way most people look at it, fantasy quarterbacks, the guys that are up here in the top 5 are running and touchdown quarterbacks, or guys that just air it out all day. And Kyler Murray has that groundwork, and he has the ability, man. Like I said, he didn't lose a game until he got to the NFL. He's got all these stats, all these records. The dude is a monster. If he can stay healthy, he is that dude. So I'm banking on him being healthy this year. I'm banking on him finally coming back and showing up and showing out this year.
I'll tell you what, he better, Trey, because if he doesn't, I don't know if Kyler Murray will be on the Cardinals next season.
There ain't no doubt. I didn't think he would be on the Cardinals this season. But that's what I'm saying. Like, he's got to prove himself. This is the year to do it, and I think he's going to show up and show out.
Yeah, I like what you said, though. Like, these guys that are in the top 5 are guys that can run effectively or throw the ball deep. I mean, that's a great way to think about it. And Kyler Murray has the potential to do both of those things.
Yep.
We've seen him bomb a ball with a Hail Murray. We've seen him take off and running and do amazing things, and that's a great reason. The reason he is not on a lot of people's lists is because of injury, is because he hasn't played since 2021. I mean, those are the reasons, like you said, if he can be healthy all season, I think he can easily make the top 10, Trey.
Yeah, and that's my biggest thing, man, is I obviously you think about injury, but I don't want injury to be the biggest reason I don't draft somebody.
I agree.
Because at that point, you're trying to predict the future of someone's injury, you know what I mean? And you just look at the player, look how good they are, look at their stats that they put up game-by-game basis. And if you want to win your league, you bank on that dude not getting hurt, and he can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The people who weren't too scared last season to draft Christian McCaffrey due to injury, because that was the big thing. Christian McCaffrey's always hurt. I'm passing on Christian McCaffrey in the first round. And whoever said, you know what, I'm going to take it and roll the dice, that's your RB1 last season. Christian McCaffrey won your league. I guarantee it.
Yeah, 68% of champions in their league had Christian McCaffrey on their team last year.
Just saying. But let's keep it moving, buddy. We are flying down this list. We've done 5. Let's do 5 more, Trey. Coming in at number 5 on my list, a guy that you've heard me probably talk about every year. It's that time again. I'm talking your boy, Joey The real Slim Burrow. Please stand up at number 5, baby. Sitting at number 5. Last season, 2,309 yards, 15 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. We know he got hurt. We know he didn't really play that much. Still quarterback 25 in half PPR. Early season calf strains last season were Joe Burrow's downfall. We've seen it in the preseason a little bit. It creeped its way into the regular season. It ended up ruining his entire season. Okay. But this season, I haven't been hearing much about it, to be completely honest. He's got Jamar Chase. He's got T. Higgins looking for a contract. T. Higgins hit the franchise tag, so next season he's either going to get a contract or he's going to be a free agent and he's going to make his money. So T. Higgins is going to be showing and balling out. We saw T. Higgins already get a touchdown in the preseason. Joe Burrow is back, and please stand up.
Yeah, man. I don't have Joe Burrow on my top 10. And it's like I was saying earlier, you don't want to draft a guy and try to predict an injury, but Joe Burrow is injured. He's been working it through the offseason and everything like that, but the type of injury he got is an injury that no quarterback has ever had in their wrist. It's not a quarterback injury. It's a baseball injury. Mm-hmm. So we don't know what it looks like with a quarterback to come back from this injury. The coach is coming out and saying that Joe Burrow is taking some days off in practice, and maybe that's just precautionary, or it's because his wrist is not healed yet and they're terrified. And so that scares me. And also Jamar Chase, just hasn't looked the same. And that scares me as well. Even T. Higgins the last couple of years hasn't, and that all comes down to Joe Burrow getting hurt and everything like that. But this team to me is too much in disarray. It scares me too much to go Joe Burrow. I do have him at number 12 on my list. Okay. I'm not, just totally throwing him out of the book, but I'm not going there. In the top 5.
Okay, buddy, we're gonna find out, man. Look, Joe Burrow's a tough guy. We've seen him play through injury many times. I know one thing that actually I just thought about that does actually scare me. I seen Ocho Cinco say something about Jamar Chase not getting on the field unless he gets a contract. Now, those are all speculations and rumors, and that may be not true at all, but that is something to look at. Either way, Joe Burrow can do his thing. He will do his thing, and he will be top 10. Put it on it. Put a name on it. We'll see.
But jumping to number 5 on my list, when I wrote my notes for this, I was hoping that some things would have been settled by now. They haven't, so it does scare me a little bit more. I still think it's going to happen. Things are going to get settled. This team's going to be ready to go. Number 5 on my list, Dak Prescott, baby. And I'm talking about CeeDee Lamb's contract, because I think that Dak Prescott, his whole season lives and dies on CeeDee Lamb. If CeeDee Lamb leaves this team, I don't think Dak Prescott is a top 10 quarterback. I still say top 15, but CeeDee Lamb and him have that connection to put up those yards. And when I'm talking those yards, I'm talking 4,516 yards, 242 rushing yards, 36 passing touchdowns. Okay. He led the NFL in touchdown passes, nearly won MVP last year. This dude just loves to air out the ball. Dak Prescott loves to step back and air it out, and CeeDee Lamb is the man to catch those balls. And so, obviously contract negotiations are going on. CeeDee Lamb posted today on his Instagram, Venom, Spider-Man putting on the Venom mask. Like, what does that mean? Is he finna dip? Is he finna go dark side? It's scary, but if CeeDee Lamb stays on the Cowboys, I think Dak Prescott easily has a path to a top 5 quarterback.
I mean, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Dak Prescott does love to air the ball out. As far as the CeeDee Lamb contract negotiations go, Jerry will pay this man. He always does. He just likes to let him sit and think about it like, oh, well, boy, we'll see. And then at the last minute, he's like, all right, you got it.
You got
it. Here you go, Zeke. Here you go, Dak. Take your money and run. He better do that with CD. That's all I'm saying, because CD was double digits of those 36 touchdowns that Dak Prescott threw last season. So I agree with you, him not being a top 10 if CD doesn't play, though.
Well, this is the biggest problem, okay, because Dak needs to be paid, CD needs to be paid, and Micah Parsons needs to be paid. Mm-hmm. All 3 of them want to be the highest paid person in their position, and they only have enough budget to pay 2 of them. Okay, so that's the biggest question is how is that going to work? Which obviously Dak Prescott and Michael Parsons don't have to be paid till next year. Right? But they're thinking if we make CeeDee Lamb the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL, we're going to have to lose one of those guys. Oof. And they don't want to lose any of them, and they're trying to juggle their bag and figure it out. I guarantee you that's what's going on is they're like, how can we pay CeeDee Lamb enough, but also keep these other guys going forward?
I would tell Dak, listen, man, when you wanted your bag, you got your bag, okay? Give me a minute. We're going to get you taken care of, and yeehaw, like Jerry likes to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Parsons definitely deserves it. He makes that entire defense. CD deserves it. He makes the offense. I mean, Dak can wait another season, you know? I mean, he can take a hometown discount. All the great ones do. Why do you think you don't have to, Dak Prescott?
Right.
Just saying.
I guarantee you he will, but he's gonna pretend like he won't until they pay him.
Yeah, well, if he wants to have a good season next year, he will because he needs CD over there.
Without a doubt.
Anyways, going on. Sorry, I got a little heated, man, talking about the Cowboys, man. Sorry about that. Let's go ahead and move on, though, on the list, man. I'm sitting at number 4 now on the list, man. Talking about the MVP last season, I'm talking Lamar Jackson. I don't love to say it. I don't love to see it, but I know a good stats when I see them. 3,678 yards, 24 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, QB3 last season, MVP 2 years. Both seasons that he was MVP, he had 3 top 3 finishes in games last season. So, or the MVP seasons, I'm sorry. But so that's something to know. Like when he's hot, he's hot. Okay. Rushing ability makes him great. 1st in rushing yards per game, 3rd in red zone carries, 4th in rushing touchdowns last season. They added Derrick Henry to the repertoire, so that's something now defense have to fear. Other than Lamar taking off, they got to fear, is Henry going to take off? Okay, I guarantee. You know what? I'm going to call this right now. It just came to me right now. Derrick Henry will throw a passing touchdown to Lamar Jackson in a game next season. What do you think?
I could easily see that happening. That's a Derrick Henry type play.
It's going to happen, baby. And when it does, remember, you heard it here first, man. But anyways, Lamar Jackson is a very much a running quarterback. And like Trey said, a lot of the guys that make the top 5 are runners or deep ball throwers. Lamar Jackson has been honing his craft a little more in the last season. We've seen his throwing get a little bit better. He seems like he's taking off a little bit less, and that may be just to spare his body and make sure he keeps getting paid. Either way, MVP last season can easily make the top 5 in quarterbacks on your fantasy team, Trey.
I can dig it, man. I can dig it. I like Lamar Jackson at 3 there. Or 4 there, sorry.
Yeah, 4, yeah. No worries, buddy.
What's that called? Foreshadowing.
Yeah, I knew it. All right. Just so you know, I knew that's what was happening. Just so you know.
But let's jump to my number 4 on my list. I've got the man, the myth, the behind the bag legend, Patrick Mahomes, number 4 on my list. Look, he finished quarterback 8 last year, so I'm dialing it back a little bit. You know, several years we've had him 1, 2 right in there, but last year, you know, he still won the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. He did his thing. But it was his worst stat year so far, and he won the Super Bowl. So it's like, with that crazy versatility and amazing throws, Mahomes has it. It's hard to rank him in the top 5, and it's definitely hard to rank him in the top 2. But I like him at 4 here. I think he has a step up again this year. I know Hollywood Brown's hurt, but when he comes back, he's going to be a big deal. He didn't have any great wide receivers last year. They added Xavier Worthy to the team, who has been killing it in the preseason. I'm really excited to see Worthy. And it's freaking Patrick Mahomes. I mean, like this dude is on his way to a 3-peat Super Bowl. I can't not rank him in the top 5.
33 minutes into the show is how long it took for us to mention Patrick Mahomes behind the back throw that we all seen a million times over and over again. Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. Okay, I'll say that. It was a preseason game. If there was ever a time to bust it out, that was it. You know, if I was him, I probably would have waited. You know what I mean? But, you know, just because I want that to be an official stat behind the back. You know, It's funny. We always talked about it. We always laughed about like, oh, yeah, Patrick Mahomes over the shoulder, behind the back, like it was a joke. Now it's the real deal. Patrick Mahomes behind the back is a real thing now. I don't think we're going to see a lot of that. I mean, I think that the first time one of those go wrong or close to being wrong, hopefully he'll be like, all right, back to reality. Whoop, there goes gravity. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. And, I'm watching the interview because we're here, so we got to talk about it.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes was like, yeah, actually it wasn't even planned. He was like, Kelsey ran the wrong freaking route and I had to get in the ball somehow. I was already cutting. So I was like, screw it, behind the back. And then they interviewed Andy Reid and they were like, what do you think about the behind the back pass? And he was like, it's not really a big deal. I mean, they do it in the NBA all the time.
That's a good point. That's a valid point.
Yeah, but it's a big deal. I mean, it's definitely different than the NBA.
It is. That's going on his permanent replay sheet,
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
By the way, so I'm going to just kind of trickle this in. Keep talking about him. At number 3, I've got Patrick Mahomes. I like him at 4, but I like him even better at 3. You're right, though. It's hard to rate this guy. You win the Super Bowl. You have almost the worst statistic fantasy season of your career, but you win the Super Bowl, come in at quarterback 7. It just shows you that, it's not always all about the quarterback, because a lot of that they had a great defense last season. Some of the wide receivers stepped up that you didn't expect to. Just saying, he has rushing upside that we always know Patrick Mahomes is going to take off. Okay, they've added some weapons like you discussed. Xavier Worthy is there. Hollywood Brown will be back. Both guys are good deep threats, I think, for Patrick Mahomes. He's going to have Kelsey in the front of the field, in the middle, and then he'll have those guys deep. I really think it's a scary concoction that they got flowing in Kansas City. And I've also been seeing, what was they talking about? Somebody, CeeDee Lamb or somebody going to the Chiefs? Somebody crazy.
Yeah, I don't think he does. I think that's all media.
I hope so.
Because I've seen some stuff like that too, and that's
all we need.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think in fantasy football you should make a behind the back pass worth 10 points. Can we do that?
Oh yeah.
Sleeper?
No, I think it's just a weak win. If it's a behind the back for a touchdown, that is.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Sleeper. Hey, sleeper, man. Put that in there, man. Put that in the stats. Behind the back pass, you can rate it whatever you want. You know what I mean? Like, we should put that in fantasy football. Good stuff, buddy. Good stuff.
But jumping to number 3 on my list, no surprise here, Lamar Jackson. I got confused with it earlier, but yeah, I got Lamar. So you got Lamar at 4, I got Mahomes at 4, you got Patrick Mahomes at 3, I got Lamar at 3. So they're right there at the same level for us, and it goes to show how great both the quarterbacks are. I actually don't like either one of them, probably because of how great they are. Yeah. But Lamar Jackson, last year, season MVP, he threw for more passing yards than ever in his career, which is a big step up. However, the Ravens defense held the field in a lot of their games, man. There was a lot of their games that they won so quickly. The game was over, and Lamar didn't have to do much because they had already won the game. I think this year they're going to have to rely a little bit more on Lamar. I think that the games are going to be a little more close. And I think that's going to benefit him for fantasy. The only thing that I don't like is that he doesn't get a lot of the red zone touches. I think they're going to give even more to Derrick Henry now that they've got Derrick Henry. I mean, to me, you got Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. The ball's on the 1 yard line. Who are you giving the ball to? To me, it's Derrick Henry every single time.
Yeah.
Why risk injury on your quarterback, Yeah.
I mean, look at the defenses having to make that decision, okay? Hike. Lamar takes it back. Is it a fake to Derrick Henry or is it not?
Or is he pulling it?
Either way, one of them's going right, the other one's going left. Them in the red zone, like the deep red zone, that's going to be a scary combination to pay attention to.
Without a doubt. And the Ravens did lose their defensive coordinator to Seattle. And that's why I think that, these games are going to play out a little differently. Lamar's going to have to try a little harder in the fourth quarter.
Yes.
And what's crazy to me is how easily they won games all year long and then did the Lamar thing in the playoffs.
Yeah, it is crazy because they were a very dominant team in the regular season last year. And then when they got to the playoffs, it was this get one game out, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Done for. Crazy. And the Ravens fans were loud, bro. They were loud and they were proud last season, man. I mean, that's got to be tough to watch your team just dominate all season. Then when it counts, nothing. It's got to be tough.
But hey, the fantasy football stops when the season ends, So if you want a good quarterback for the season, get you some Lamar Jackson. Now, if you're playing fantasy in the playoffs, find somebody else.
Absolutely, buddy. Absolutely. But let's keep this bad boy moving, man. I'm coming at number 2 with a quarterback, another guy that I don't like that much, buddy. And it's your guy, Jalen Hurts. Got him at number 2. I don't think I even had him this high last season, if I remember correctly.
I think you had him at 5.
Yeah, I think I had him a little higher, which, let's see, was I right? No, I was not right. 3,858 yards last season, 23 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, QB2 last season in fantasy points per game. So that's definitely a statistic to keep your eye on. Jalen Hurts with the goal line rushings. I don't know if we're going to see as many tush pushes as we did now that Kelsey is gone. But listen, 21.9 points per game last season on average for Jalen Hurts. That's a good quarterback for your team right there that you can like count on those points every week. 15 rushing touchdowns, first in red zone carries. Those are the kind of things you want for your quarterback. And if the Eagles and what we've seen the last two seasons continues, we're going to see a very dominant Jalen Hurts, at least in the first half of the season, right?
Without a doubt. And that's also why I have Jalen Hurts at number 2 on my list. Like you listed all the stats, what I have here, but 15 rushing touchdowns in 17 games. I mean, I had Jalen Hurts on several teams last year, and I loved it because, I mean, literally the first quarter of the game, boom, he had 20, and I'm chilling. I'm like, I don't care how the rest – it can only go up from here. Yeah. I loved having Jalen Hurts. It took a lot of anxiety off my back whenever he did that. Obviously, I don't think he's going to get 15 rushing touchdowns this year because of the loss of Kelsey, but it's still possible, and it's easily possible for him to get 10 still, which I'm perfectly fine with. Mm-hmm. Let me just give you this stat line, okay? Hurts had more 30-plus fantasy point games than he had 20 less point fantasy games. Mm-hmm. And that's what I want out of my fantasy quarterback every year.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, that's good stuff, man. The only issue for me when it comes to having Jalen Hurts as my QB1 is like, I don't want to root for the Eagles. So that hurts my soul, but I will to win a fantasy championship.
There you go, baby.
But that's why I don't draft him, because he's a little too rich for my blood in general when it comes to him in drafts. And just go ahead and take that. You know what I mean? And I'll get what's left kind of thing.
Well, look, man, I've had Jalen Hurts the last 2 years, got him at value most years. This year he is going a lot higher because of the last 2 years. Yep. So I don't know if I'll have a chance to touch Jalen Hurts, especially in super flex type leagues. Obviously, it's where the draft falls. But if I do get me option to take some Jalen Hurts, I'm going to snap up on it.
Yeah, buddy. The Bandy Bowl, we're going to be getting the draft order up, man. If you go 2 or 3 or 4, I don't know. It'll be hard for you because I know in Superflex, you don't generally like taking that quarterback right away, but if he's there, Trey, and you're at 3, are you taking him?
Well, that's the thing, man. In Superflex, a lot of my Superflex leagues, I typically every year always somehow end up in the back half of the draft, right? And when those first 5 quarterbacks come off the board, I'm like, I'm dipping. I'm going to find me a guy deep down that can rise up. But if I have the option to take one of those top 5 guys, I feel like you have to. It's Superflex league. You're going to lose if you don't. So yeah, definitely. If I'm in the first 5 and Hurts is there, I don't have any reason to think that I wouldn't grab him up.
Might find out, buddy.
We just might.
Okay, coming at number 1 for both of us, I'm assuming, because I haven't heard you say a word about this guy, and he would definitely be in your top 10. I got Josh Allen coming in at number 1. You're damn right you do. You're damn right you do. Last season, 4,306 yards, 29 touchdowns, 18 interceptions. Your QB1 last season. And now look, I know there are plenty of reasons to be worried about Josh Allen and his fantasy prowess as far as that goes. Okay, that team has lost a lot of weapons, okay, but they've gained a few also, okay? Curtis Samuel, I think, is going to be one of these guys that people aren't going to see coming. I'm starting to see his ADP rise a little bit, not as much as I really thought it was going to be the way we've seen him in the preseason, but he's he's a very aggressive wide receiver. We're looking to see some Deebo Samuel stuff going on. And all of that is great for Josh Allen, okay? Stephon Diggs is gone. Gabe Davis, who didn't really do too much but still was a part of that team, is gone. But look, Dalton Kincaid, still there, okay? Khalil Shakur, they got a lot of speed with him and Keon Coleman. Like, Curtis Samuel, still an older guy, still one of the faster receivers in the league, okay? Josh Allen is going to be fine, okay? Look, when we were watching the preseason game with the Bills, Josh Allen was playing, and I'm like, okay, it seems like he's been on the field for a long time. He took off and ran one play. Sean McDermott said, nope, you're done. He's like, Josh Allen has no off switch.
Yeah.
He has no off switch, and that's a quarterback I want on my team, a guy that is going to stay in there, take the hits, plow through guys, jump over them, do all that stuff, and he's got an arm that can air the ball out 60 yards. That's your QB1, Trey.
Without a doubt. Josh Allen, been number 1 in fantasy 3 of the last 4 years, okay? He is the safest quarterback to draft this year. He has more than twice as many rushing touchdowns as Lamar Jackson, and no one has more passing touchdowns. He has more passing touchdowns than anyone besides Patrick Mahomes over the last 4 years. Okay, both of those stats say QB1 all day.
Yep.
He did lose Diggs, and I get that, but personally, to me, that makes me think he's going to run more. The last couple of years, I've been saying they're going to dial back the run. Josh Allen's not going to run as much. This year, I'm saying he's going to run more, and I'm excited to see that, man. That's to me, he has. I'm putting down right now. Josh Allen has more rushing touchdowns in any quarterback next year.
Ooh, okay.
Because the only person in contention was Jalen Hurts, and he lost Kelsey.
Yeah, I like it, buddy. I like it a lot. So let me ask you this, buddy. Superflex. It's the Bandy Bowl draft. Trey lands the number 1 pick. Well, who you getting, buddy?
I'm getting Josh Allen, and I'm glad that you brought this up because I want to make a point that the number 1 pick is the hardest pick it's the worst pick to have in fantasy football, right? Because you are whoever you're drafting them at their ceiling,
Yep.
right? You are saying this person has to finish number 1 overall of all the players, and statistically, it's the worst chance for them to, right? Because you're deciding out of every player on the board, this is the guy that finishes 1 overall. But the guy that's drafting 12, when they pick a guy, they're saying if this guy can finish 1 through 12, and it's still a great pick.
That's a great.
So it's tough, man, because you're not getting any value out of that pick. Even if you pick the number 1 guy in fantasy, you got them at their value. You got no value out of that. And I think Josh Allen is the person that can get you the most value with that first pick in a Superflex league.
Absolutely, buddy. Absolutely. A guy that's finished, 3 of the last 4 years as the number 1. That is a guy that you can at least say, okay, if he finishes 2 or 3, I'm still happy.
I didn't lose too much value.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Josh Allen's, either way, Josh Allen's QB1 for both of us. We agree on this at least. Definitely grab him up, man.
Yeah, man. I think our top 4 are the same.
Pretty similar, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're not identical, but they're the same 4 people.
Lamar, Patrick, Jalen, Josh.
Yep.
You got all those
4? Top
okay.
4.
Okay. I like it. That's, I think, a little different. Last season, we were a little off a little bit here and there.
Who was your 5? Burrow?
Burrow.
And I had Prescott, who I didn't have Burrow on my top 10. You didn't have Prescott on your top 10. So we got to see which one of those guys show up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, no matter where you're watching 4th and Flex, please don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to hit the follow button. Don't forget to subscribe. We have got a YouTube members group. Go down there, join the 4th and Flex crew, and become a Flexaholic with your guys. We're giving you one-on-one training with your fantasy teams. After a few months of subscriptions, you're getting one-of-a-kind 4th and Flex swag that you can only get here. We're going to help you out, right, Trey?
Without a doubt.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. We got a couple honorable mentions, don't you, Trey, on your list, man? A couple of guys that maybe almost cracked that top 10, but just didn't quite make it, Trey. Who you got for us?
Well, so I mentioned C.J. Stroud was at my number 11. I have Burrow at 13. So I'll mention my 12 here just to throw that out there as another honorable mention. And that's Brock Purdy, a guy who I had to bring up. You know what I mean? It was tough not to put him in my top 10. He's on one of the greatest teams in the league, but he just doesn't crack my top 10 in my book, man. There's a lot of question marks, with the team and how things are going to go. Christian McCaffrey with his calf injury, Ayuk, possible trades.
Yep.
You just wonder if they're going to be the Rams from 2 years ago without winning the Super Bowl, and that this team's just going to fall apart. And that worries me enough to drop him out of my 10.
That's funny, buddy. I've also got Brock Purdy at number 12 for all the same reasons, man. Brock Purdy is one of those underrated guys that everyone just kind of looks past and it's not him. It's the rest of the players on that team. Well, you wouldn't say that about Patrick Mahomes or one of those other guys, because we all know how important the quarterback position is. If you don't got a guy that can at least, and I don't want to say this in a bad way, manage the game, not saying he's a game manager, but just saying like, that's what a quarterback does. They manage to keep all the pieces moving in the right direction, and Brock Purdy has successfully done that for the last couple years, man. Mr. Irrelevant has become relevant. So that's great stuff. Brock Purdy at 12. I like it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Coming with an honorable mention for me, a guy that I have to talk about, a guy that has been talked about, but I'm going to keep talking about him, Caleb Williams. I got him coming in at number 13 as a rookie. A repeat CJ Stroud type thing. CJ Stroud last season came in as a rookie, hit 13. That didn't have anything to do with my decision. I'm just saying it's kind of looking to be a lot like Christmas, if you know what I'm saying. Caleb Williams, okay, here's the thing. I'm hearing a lot of people say Caleb Williams is the next Patrick Mahomes. That's a lot of pressure to put on a young guy. But look, Caleb Williams, it don't seem like it bothers him, man. He's like, throw it on. Throw another one on. It ain't nothing. I got this. He's cocky, which I didn't like. But as a quarterback and as the leader of my football team, I think that is something I would like. And we've all seen him in the preseason. He sits there in the pocket. He looks calculated. He's got people at every position around him. He's got DJ Moore. He's got Keenan Allen. He's got a good running game with DeAndre Swift. He's got the pieces to make it happen. Now, I don't think CJ Stroud had that big of an opportunity last season. He didn't have the pieces, and he still made it work. From what I've seen on tape from Caleb Williams, though, he's looking like the guy, Trey, and that's why I have him sliding in on 13.
I get it, man. I get it. He's shown some things. He's did some things in college. It's just, I don't know. There's so much hype around Caleb Williams that scares me the most, and that's like, that's not even statistical. So it shouldn't scare me, right? Because it's just, it's just stats and people making up stuff. But it's just like, almost like a jinx in a sense where I'm like, man, they are pumping him up. There's too much hype. This is going to fall apart. But he definitely has the ability to do it. And I don't hate the take at all.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm the type of guy who generally that kind of stuff absolutely turns me off. And I have been trying to keep my ears away from that and then just watch his play. And from what I've seen in his play, dude, he just looks so poised and so comfortable sitting in the pocket, Trey. I just feel like he knows what he's doing and he's in the driver's seat for a reason.
Without a doubt.
It's scary to trust that number one guy. How many times has the guy who's been drafted first overall been a 100% hit? When's the last time that happened?
It's rare, man. It's rare.
Trevor Lawrence took a minute to get rolling, okay, and he's kind of went up, and now he's kind of going back down. Baker Mayfield, he's been all up and down, zigzags and all that. Now he's on the Buccaneers. He's managing to slowly get his feet back in the door a little bit. It just seems like those guys drafted number one, it doesn't really work out for them, and every sign is pointing to saying that it won't work out for Caleb Williams, but I just got a feeling about this kid, Trey.
I can dig it. I want to throw one out there that this is a really hot take, but it's a guy you can get as your QB3 in Superflex leagues that I think that is worth taking a risk on, and it's definitely preseason hype that's got me feeling this way. But that's Will Levis, man. I got Will Levis, top 20 quarterback on the year. I think that he's had a rough couple years, but I think he's finally got it together. I mean, this dude's a monster. He's throwing up big banger balls, and I'm excited to see Will Levis play this year.
Yeah, I mean, we had him on the sleepers list, Trey. And this was before we seen him in the preseason, man. He's just looking good. He's looking a lot more comfortable. He's looking like he's starting to know how to use the pieces that he does have. I know D-Hop is out, but I don't think that's going to bother him very much. Will Levis is a tough player. I mean, we've seen him running the ball, doing things that we know our good quarterbacks can do. I like it as a third guy to just grab and have. And then if a couple weeks go by and he's not it, drop him and get another one. You know what I mean? There's another guy in a Will Levis range that you're getting on drafts that can help you out either way. But I would say if it doesn't start off with a bang, I would wait. I guarantee Will Levis makes our waiver wire list this year a few times.
Oh, yeah. I think last year he was on our waiver wire list like 5 times.
Yeah. I mean, and that was after his 4 touchdown game, his first game ever coming in with a bang.
Yeah.
It was great. Oh, good stuff, buddy. Oh man, I can talk about quarterbacks all day. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh man, good stuff, guys. Like I said, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe over there on TikTok. Please tap that screen and show your boys some love. Join our members only group. Get you some. We're doing some special videos for members of our group, man. A little behind the scenes, a little one-on-one action with your boys at Fourth and Flex, man. Help you get to the championship.
Let's do it.
But guys, I appreciate y'all so much, and thank you so much for watching. And we shall see thee on the next one.
Peace.
Balls to steal this guy. He's got big balls.